The following is a presentation of the IH Sports Network. You're listening to the Monday Night Roundtable. For the next 2 hours, we'll talk local high school sports with the voice of the Oneida Indians, Tim Smith.
10-5, touchdown, Indians.
Give me the corners, 2 scores, baby.
Give me the corners.
The voice of the Scott Highlanders, Rick Keaton.
Throw the ball, has a receiver long upfield, chasing it down. Made by Rylan Griffith. He'll take it all the way to the end zone.
Produced by the IH Sports Network, the Roundtable begins now.
Good Monday evening, everybody. Welcome to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. We are live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood. We're going to be here for the next hour and a half or so as we talk high school sports. I'm Ben Garrett, alongside the voice of the Indians, Tim Smith, the voice of the Highlanders, Rick Keaton. We're going to talk a little high school football. We're going to talk high school basketball. As always, we're going to start off by kind of recapping what happened Friday night. Rick, Scott High got the monkey off their back early in the season against Eagleton, and then it had kind of been a while since then. A lot of things had gone wrong. I think they were riding a 6-game losing streak into Friday night at Pickett County, but I guess they got the monkey off their back again. They won in a big way over at Byrdstown Friday night.
Yeah, the 6 straight losses included the loss to Alcoa, that tough overtime loss to Union County. By all rights, I think we should probably be a 4-win, maybe a 5-win team at this time. It's just 3 points behind the Cumberland County to start the season. So, I mean, they've got a chance to still be there at the end of the year. But the trip over to Byrdstown to take on Pickett County, everybody, expected the Highlanders to win. It's just maybe how much you can win. I think I opened the pregame the other night stating something like, hey, don't take it for granted. We're here. They've got to win the game down on the field. And they took care of that pretty quick in the first quarter and a half. They had a substantial lead, was able just to then ride that on and play everybody that they had dressed on the trip Friday night. So that was strong. That was pivotal. They haven't played a big JV schedule. So for these young kids that have participated in the summer and all through the fall, it's been a good deal for them to get on the field. Of course, it looked very easy and probably was very easy. I'm not saying I saw a whole lot of the game because it was very dark on the field. It's a baseball field that they use for football, but we had a chance to talk to Mr. Buckman, the principal, Coach Matheny. They're in hopes that sometime, we don't know how far in the future, that they do get a dedicated football field. They think they need that, but it'll have to be, I think, after a few years when they turn out 25, 30 kids each and every year. But they were extremely good to us. Told us we could launch wherever we want to. Hey, let me pull the truck out, to the pitcher's mound. So it doesn't get much more accommodating than that. And the Highlanders play well. They get the win. I hope a little confidence, and we look forward to a big challenge this Friday night.
So you look at the final score, and everybody knows Pickett County's outmanned. I mean, it is what it is. You look at the final score, 46-0. Maybe you think that's a little bit of a ho-hum type of deal. Scott High was up 40-0 with 9 minutes to go in the second quarter, so it's not like that they struggled in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I mean, they came out and did everything they needed to do to build confidence going into the game against Austin East this week. And now here we are going into Thursday night, a chance still on the table for Scott High to get to the playoffs with a win over Austin East. How big is it for them going into this, as opposed to, if it had been a week earlier and you're coming off that loss to Alcoa going into that Austin East game?
Personally, I think it would have been very hard. I think after a loss, it's always hard to rebound. After this win, I'm not sure that we will rebound. Austin East is just record-wise, they're not very strong. They've got 2 wins. Same number of wins that we have, but they've been able to score a lot more points. But I'm using the word "but" a whole lot of time. And they have not scored in 2 or 3 games. They've actually got shut out one game, I believe. But they have the possibility to put up 30, 40, 50 points against you. So they still are a team of athletes, And when they're playing good disciplined ball, they've been hard for the Highlanders to handle. Interesting statistic. Since 2001, we've played them 14 times. We beat them exactly 0 times. Our last time that we beat Austin East was back in the 90s.
So you're not counting the COVID win, obviously.
On-field wins or on-field games is the ones I'm counting. I mean, yeah, would you like me to say we're 1-14?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're 1-14 against Austin East, and I'm not sure that we shouldn't have been 2-13 against them. Maybe it seemed like there was a COVID win the year before that. I don't know. It didn't get credited as that because I think we might have picked up another game and played it, so we didn't get credit for that COVID win that year. So I count on-field wins and losses. Yeah, that's your indication of what's to come. Well, what's to come? How do we stop Austin East? How do we stop a team that's got athletes? It's just whether or not they put it together on a given night. Some nights they do.
Yeah.
Some nights they don't.
Well, they did on Friday night, putting up 50-plus on Union County. We've seen Union County. They're not a bad football team. So, Scott High, Austin East, that's going to be a Thursday night game this week.
Yes.
Very, very important game. Obviously, we're going to talk more about that as we go along. Tim Smith, Oneida started out against the Kings Academy team the Kings Academy, I guess I should say. We didn't know anything about them. We knew they were 0-8, but they're a private school. They played an extremely tough schedule. The game started off with Oneida just flat dominating. Then Kings Academy bounced back, but then the Indians closed out strong. What did you learn about Oneida from that game that you didn't already know?
Well, I mean, it was kind of like 3 games in the setting there. You know, the first half was a dominating performance by the Indians. I mean, I think everybody was relaxed, laughing at halftime, talking, in the press box. It seemed to be a good, comfortable thing. And then the Kings Academy wasn't done. They came out. Their coaches, credit to them, they did a great job of rallying. They only had about 20 players. And they rallied them, made them believe. They came out with a plan in the second half, and they absolutely turned what was Oneida's first half domination into 10 minutes of third quarter domination. I mean, defensively, offensively, they were clicking. They had things going, and they had a lot of people nervous, I think, and a lot of people concerned about what this was going to look like. And, I don't think anybody went in thinking it was going to be just a runaway game for the Indians, at least from our perspective, nobody I talked to, because there's a lot of really good athletes. They had 3 receivers that were just huge, huge receivers. We've got small corners. That looked like a point that they could kind of take care of. But one thing we tried to do, I think, in the first half was lean on them, run the football some more, and try to create some fatigue since they did only have 20 players. And I think that's kind of where it paid off. It really seemed to be, with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, an ill-fated decision for their punt return man. That was really the key turning point of that one. It was 15-15. They had just stopped us again. They were about to get the football back. For the first time, they were going to have the football in a tie game since the beginning of the game. And I think their punt returner was going to try to make something happen. And he was caught between, do I pick this up? Do I let it go? And he decided he was going to pick it up. Although when he tried to, he didn't get grip of it. It got loose. We got it, and it was just like a switch flipped. Obviously we've got great field position now inside their 20. We convert, turn that into 7 points, and there was really not – the fight was kind of over at that point, for the Kings Academy. And I think part of it played into if they had been a 6-win team at that point, they probably would have looked different. But it was almost like here we go again for the Kings Academy, and there it went. So the Indians got that win against them. It's a big win for the Indians. Coach Mays talked about it. He talked about the Indians, and he inherits this long line of poor-mouthing your own team, and you're playing Notre Dame every week. But, I mean, he's not wrong that I don't think many people had the Indians sitting on 7 wins after week 9. I wouldn't have thought that. And so they're there, and now they're in position. It's going to be very different this Friday night. I don't know that Bledsoe County is not the second-best team that the Indians have on their schedule. No disrespect to Coalfield, but I think Bledsoe County, they played a 27-17 game with York in Pikeville, which is where we're going. They've got big guys. They like to play a physical football game, and we're going to have to enjoy playing a physical football game against a physical football team that's at home with a high stakes. I mean, you win and you get a home playoff game, and you also move yourself opposite the York Dragons in the bracket. You know, both teams know they're going to make the postseason. Now that doesn't mean you just assume you're going to run into York, because you'd still have to win a road playoff game. But it's a better place to be. You're going to be home for a playoff game, and I guess that would be South Green or Eagleton. You know, the way Eagleton has continued to improve, I don't know that that's a great draw, but I think they're going to wind up finishing fourth, and that's who York's going to get. So I just think the Indians have done a nice job of persevering through some things this year, putting themselves in a position, and you know, defensively, offensively, they've done what they need to do to get to 7 wins. We gave the stat on Friday night. If the Indians score, they win. The only 2 games they've lost, they didn't score any points. So if you get that touchdown, you know you got that game, right? That's how it's going to look. I'm just kidding. It's not that simple.
But it helps.
It helps.
It helps.
I can tell you one thing: if you don't get that touchdown, if you don't get that score, you definitely won't win. Right. So I think it's going to take some X factors Friday night when you go to Bledsoe County. I think, you know, it's an 8:00 start. It's a little bit different. We're going to have to come up with the turnover. We're going to have to make the breaks, like they talk about, like General Neyland talked about making the breaks. I think the Indians are going to have to go in there and do that, but just great job of getting themselves in the position to fight for this second place in the region when I don't think many people thought that was what it was going to be.
Let me just say, the way Mark Martin's defense has been playing and the way that some of these sophomores just exploded onto the scene this year, you get that touchdown and you score, you start to feel really comfortable really quickly. Mm-hmm. You know, so here we are, the final week of the regular season. Obviously, Oneida York was a big game. Scott High Union County was a big game. But when you consider what both teams are playing for this week, this is the biggest week of the regular season. The math is simple. For Scott High on Thursday night, you win and you're in the playoffs for the first time since 2017. If you lose, then that's it. For Oneida, you know you're in. If you win on Friday night at Bledsoe, then you get that first round at home, as you've already mentioned. Obviously, we're going to talk more about these games as we go along tonight. But first, we're going to switch to basketball. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Scott High head men's coach, Rusty Ayton, right after this.
Yep.
Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. We're joined now by Scott High men's basketball coach Rusty Ayton. And guys, hard to believe, we're still in football mode, as well we should be, but we are less than a month away from getting this basketball season started. So over the next couple of weeks, hopefully, if they can all make it, we'll have each one of our coaches on to talk about their team, to talk about the season ahead. One we know is going to talk about his team in the season ahead is Coach Ayton. And so, Coach, first of all, I appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight. And looking back to last season, your season that had a lot of success in the regular season, came up short in that district tournament game against Anderson County that kind of put you behind the 8 ball, and then you finished things up over at Strawberry Plains against Carter. You lost a lot from that team. You lost the bulk of your scoring, the bulk of your leadership, the bulk of really everything. But in talking to you throughout the offseason, you've said more than once you really like this basketball team, even though it's a very young team. Why is that?
I feel like the chemistry. I mean, through the summer team camps and just the chemistry seems a lot better. Now, part of that, second year being a coach now, the kids are more comfortable with you. And the first year is always tough. I went through it 3 times, and that first year is a lot of growing pains, getting used to the coach getting used to the players. But I think it all started last year. I think we've had this conversation. 2 seniors I've got coming back, Toby and Sky, and they probably saw what the roster was going to be like this year. But they were at every JV game we had last year, cheering them, all them freshmen on. And we called it a JV game, but always just freshmen for the most part. And so I think it started with them, and I've told both of them that. I felt like, that was huge, them taking the time, because you don't see that everywhere, out of everybody. And so and then they all get along well. And but, a lot of it's probably just where 2/3 of the team came in when I came in, So I think that kind of helps with that.
So you've got 2 seniors. You've got 0 juniors, unless you've added someone that I don't know about.
Well, I may have 3 seniors. Hugo Henry's talked to me about playing. So, but, 24 players on the roster, it looks like. 3 seniors, no juniors, 9 sophomores, 12 freshmen.
going up against a 3A basketball
And,
schedule. Does that scare you at all to be that young?
Well, obviously it's concerning. I mean, if you look at our summer camps, we were just up and down. I mean, some days I thought we played well, and other days we looked like we could have lost to a decent junior high team, to be honest with you. But overall, I was kind of pleased with what we want to get done this summer. And you mentioned the word young, and I think you know where I'm going to go with this. All my coaching stops I've been at, up at Oneida 1 year, and then when I was out at Sunbright coaching girls, I've had some very young teams. And if you remember way back in the day, back before this, before you was paper interviewing me, I said, guys, I'm going to say the Y word one time. First interview I do, paper or round table, whatever. And then me personally, I'm not going to talk about it anymore, And so, yes, we are very young, but I told the guys back in the summer, I said, guys, your opponent don't care that you're young. The opponent's coach don't care, and the opponent's fans don't care, And I say that to say this: too many times, and you guys hear this just like I do. Even at the college level, how many times do you hear the opposing coach be talking after the game? Well, we're just young, And I look at it like if you're not careful, that puts in an upfront excuse for losing.
Yeah.
I mean, because you just, we lose. That's okay, guys. We're young. And I've never been that coach.
And you don't want your players saying the same thing.
Right.
Hey, we're young. That's the
we're,
reason. Yeah.
We're what we are. I mean, it's like that. And so I've tried to rally behind that everywhere I've been when that's the case. If you think back to my time up at Oneida, one time I think that 1 year we were starting 3 freshmen and had no seniors on the whole squad. And that went on to be the sub-state team, So you hope, you coach what you got, and you don't use excuses built in, and you just hope that it continues to grow. And I think these guys will.
Let's talk about your team that you've got, starting with your 2 seniors, which is really the only returning varsity experience that you got, at least significant varsity experience of those 2 seniors. Start with them. What are you going to count on out of them night in and night out?
Well, I've told them both together. They're together all the time. At school, you see them all the time. But I've told them realistically we need probably about 30 points to 35 between them. And Toby's he's more of an inside guy. Sky's more of the outside guy. But I'll be doing a few little things for both. Like Toby's. I feel like his 3-point shot just came along really well, and I love him shooting the trailer 3 off the break. And then I feel like Sky, we can run some things inside for him, trying to post guards up. But we really need 30 to 35 probably between them 2. And I think they can get that, without being, without forcing it,
Then you move into your sophomores, and well, let me ask you first. You said you may have the 3rd senior in Hugo Henry. Have you probably haven't even had a chance to see him in a gym yet?
No, they said he might have played
as
1 year, maybe
yeah.
as a freshman. Then I know he didn't play for me last year, and I was not sure about his sophomore year. I'm not even sure if he did or not. So, we'll after football's over, we'll get him out there and see, if he can help us in some areas and stuff. And then after that, it goes to the sophomores,
You start with those sophomores, and a couple that did see some limited action last year. You've got Wyatt Lloyd and Isaiah Washam that saw some action, and then Landon Goodman probably a little bit as well. So start with those 3 first of all. What do you expect them to contribute this year?
Isaiah's probably going to start out the year as our point guard. He out of all them sophomores now, he got the most time last year. He got some meaningful minutes. I remember I think he hit 3 big threes over there at Anderson County. Yeah. And just huge, just right in a row basically. So he's got some experience. Wyatt Lloyd he'll start. Isaiah will start at point. Wyatt will start. Another lefty to go with Toby. I feel like that's an advantage for us having 2 lefties like that inside, and both of them can step out and shoot the 3. Look, really expecting big things out of both of them. And then that 5th spot, guys, just to say it like it is, it's pretty much wide open right now. I mean, based on this summer, it'd be this guy one day or one game, the next game it might be this guy. So I feel like that's going to be among about 4 or 5 guys fighting for that. And I say fighting for it, one of them's going to start. The other guys will play. We're going to try to play about 9 at least this year. with what we're going to play. Tucker Slavin, he's another sophomore. He's came on huge from where he was at when he first came in the program to where he's at now. He's just big gains, and I kept told him all along. I said, Tucker, you're going to have to play some defense, and he's worked on his defense because he can shoot it as well as anybody. Just defense is work there, and then same thing with Landon Goodman. He can shoot it with anybody. We just got to make a consistent effort on the defensive end.
Any other players that you want to mention individually that you're counting on this year?
Logan Phillips, he's a big guy. He's another sophomore. I think he's improved a lot. That's what you want when you have all these young guys like last year. You want to see them make significant gains, and I feel like every one of them guys did. We took a few beatings in some JV games last year, but it was our freshmen playing everybody else's, some sophomores, some juniors. So there's a few games. I guess we probably played 24 games last year, counting before varsity games, and we played some Saturdays. So I think they went about 13-11, 14-10, playing against older guys. So I knew we had to do that to get them ready for this year because they were going to be, stepping right into the main roles.
You were a little bit banged up in the summer, and I guess the first one that comes to mind would be Brennan Brummett. He didn't play last year with an injury, and then this summer you finally get him into that rotation, and he's banged up again. Is he going to be healthy? And how about the rest of your guys that were a little bit nicked up during the summer?
Brummett, he's I guess he's getting close. He's probably about 95% right now. I feel like he's made big gains in his health here probably the last month. But he's jumping well now. His conditioning's getting better. And I think, and I guess he's quite possibly our tallest player. So he's somebody that can handle it. And then I think, we can do some things with him inside. Jacob Lau's another sophomore that'll see time. He just kind of does a lot of things. He plays pretty well defense, gets a lot of offensive rebounds. And a couple freshmen that will be on the varsity. I know Isaiah Washington's brother, Landon, he'll be on varsity. He shoots it well, and Brady Crabtree. So that's probably going to be the main 11, I guess. Then we'll have some football guys coming in and see how they do.
So you talked about the JV schedule that you played last year. You played a ton, and by the way, those guys improved. I think Rick would agree with me on that. First of the season, you're looking at them saying, "Oh my gosh, what's this going to look like?" But then by the end of the season, they're out there holding their own with really good JV teams, and they're just freshmen, as you already mentioned. Talk about your style, because most coaches, and you and I have talked about this, most varsity high school coaches, they turn those duties over to someone on their staff, and they kind of take a step back and let them handle that. Some of them, quite frankly, they're not even in the gym when those JV games are played. You're not only in the gym, you're right there, and I don't think it's because you don't trust your assistants, because you've had different assistants through the years, and that's always been your approach. Why is that?
I just I'm the type of coach, I'm looking at what 3 years is going to look like from now. Obviously I'm in the thinking about this year, but I'm looking out there, okay, what's this roster or what's this team going to look like in 3 years from now, 4 years from now? And I feel like the best know that is I need to be around it all the time, whether it's JV games, freshman games. When I see a certain individual here, okay, do I see him progressing into a guy that I can run isolation plays for? And, if you think back, last year in JV, White, I run a lot of isolation stuff for White because I felt like he was going to grow into that role for the next 3 years. So I just like being, like I said, it's not trusting that I don't trust my assistants. Heck, my daughter is one of them for all these years. And I trust her as much as anybody to run my stuff. But I think it's important for the boys to see me always there too. Mm-hmm. Besides me getting a look at, how they do in certain situations, it's important that that's my head coach. He's here, support me, I'm only a freshman. I think that just pays dividends on down the line. And, I do get tired. I ain't gonna lie. I do get tired, putting in all that time and then, coaching on the JV games, but I feel like it pays off.
So, and Rick, you chime in whenever. You've already talked about the rest of your team's chemistry, I guess, especially in the gym. But you also see that outside the gym, and that's one thing I was going to ask you about before I knew you were going to bring it up. People ask me, what kind of season Scott High going to have? And I say, well, they're young. I know you don't like that word, but I can use it because you can't make me run laps.
I'm just telling, when you all interview me after the game, we're not going to talk about that word. But
I say they're young, so, tough. It's going to be tough because they are, a lot of inexperience. But they're going to be fun to watch. And one of the reasons they're going to be fun to watch is because they genuinely like each other, and the fact that there's an age gap there, it doesn't really matter to those guys.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, Toby, there's one time back in the summer, I texted one of the boys something. I can't remember what it was about. But then the next thing I know, I'm getting a text from Toby, a picture there, and it's like 8 or 9 of them at the lake or something. They hang out like that all the time, and that's good. I mean, you obviously want your team close in the gym, but when they can get along well off the gym, I think that just helps, the ball chemistry even more.
It helps the team grow. It helps the team grow off the court, but it helps them grow because now we start getting into your X's and O's. What do you want to accomplish offensively, and what kind of defense do you want them to be able to play? And I think you want to be very aggressive on both ends.
We're going to try.
So what have your practices been like this summer and this fall?
Well, we looked at a lot of putting in a lot of the things I did when I was at Sunbright. A lot of run and jump, full court run and jump press, and doubling off things. Now, granted, in the boys' game, there's limitations in the boys' game that you can get by with some things in the girls' game that you cannot get by in the boys' game. If you gamble too much in the boys' game, you're giving up a dunk.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of pick and choose and things like that. But we want to, we want to be aggressive. We want to try to dictate the style of the game. Now, I'm not stubborn. I've said that all. If something's not working, or if I see an opponent that I just know it's not going to work, I'm not going to be one of these guys that, well, that's who I am. That's who we are. We're just going to do it anyway. I hate losing too bad to do that. But we want to try to dictate the pace if we can this year.
How about district schedule-wise? Your teams in your district. Who do you perceive as being here and here?
Well,
if you can.
We only had 4 teams last year.
Right.
Now we're at 6. We lost Halls. They moved up. Then we gained Union County, Cumberland Gap, and Gibbs. So, honestly, I mean, you'd think just on school enrollment size and then with what they've got back, preseason, you'd probably have to regard Anderson County and Clinton being the top 2 probably in some order. That's not to say none of the rest of us can. I'm just saying, just looking at things up front. But, everybody, I think to the best of my knowledge, all of us have all lost key pieces from last year's team. So it'll be kind of interesting, and and I stress the boys about how you just got to play hard, and and sometimes you win games just by playing harder than your opponent. I mean, last year we didn't always do that, so hopefully this year we will.
Last year, and this was talked about a lot last year, your point guard play, you didn't have a true point guard. And I felt like sometimes that was probably unfair to Scott Jeffers because Scott was a heck of a ball player. There were games you would not have won had he not been on the floor. But he wasn't a true point guard, and he would have been the first person to say that. And so if you had an Achilles heel, sometimes that was it because other teams knew how to attack you. Right. Anderson County specifically, I remember, of course, Jordan and Scott are cousins, and Jordan Jeffers coached in Anderson County. He knew exactly how to attack him. And Scott made him pay, by the way, and you got the win over there because Scott went, I think, something like 16 out of 17 from the free throw line. Has that improved any this year? You still don't really have a true point guard, right?
No, we still don't. I mean, Isaiah's more of a 2. Sky's definitely a 2. In a sense, it's going to be kind of by committee again. And it's funny you mentioned that, about Scott not being a true point guard. He very first week there in team camps last year, Scott's going into his senior year. He said, "Coach, it kind of looks like you're going to depend on me to kind of be my point guard." He said, "I'm not a true point guard." He said, "I'll give you everything I got." And I said, "Scott, that's all I can ask, bud." And we did things to try to disguise. I remember we had used Toby around the half line a lot of times, just setting continuous screens to try to help us get it past the half line. I'd like to say we got a outright, definitely a true point guard, but we don't again. We'll just have to do it by committee. one of the styles I'm trying to put in place is another way to try to hide that fact. We're going to try to, in a lot of cases, whoever's the rebounder, we can try to bring it. Because guys, they don't necessarily handle it great, but they handle it good enough. Especially like Toby and White. If they got a 4 or 5 on them, then we're going to try to let them bring it up against a 4 or a 5, and I feel like they can both do that.
If there's one thing, you might have a reputation as being an intense basketball coach. I don't know if you know that or not. But
maybe
that reputation may be out there. If there's one thing that, and I think I know the answer, but I want to hear you say it. If there's one thing that your players know that if I do this, Coach Y is going to be down my throat, what is it?
No energy and no defense.
No defense.
I mean, it's just automatic. And I get kidded about that all the time, when I played, as a scorer, and then everybody now they hear me say stress defense, defense, defense. But I try to get across. We're not always going to shoot the ball well. I mean,
exactly.
Some nights it's just not going to go. I mean, you take the first round of the Anderson County game over there in the district tournament. I think we shot 23% for the game, and we were still in it down at the end. Because we did okay on the defensive end too. We just couldn't throw one in the ocean. But, it always gives you a chance to win. If you play hard and play defense, you always put yourself in a position that you're got a chance.
Have you ever had players that could light it up offensively that didn't see the floor for you because they wouldn't play defense?
That'd be a yes.
Okay.
I won't mention names, but they probably know. And they played some. They just could have been out there a whole heck of a lot more. But, if you can score 15, you're going to give up 20. That's -5. That's not going to help us.
So
the efficiency rating is not there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Since I talked about you having a reputation as an intense coach, and by the way, there's nobody I know that likes to lose or dislikes losing as much as Rusty Aiden. You were really chill last year. You calmed down a whole lot. I don't know. Tim would text me after the games because he called so many of your games. He'd say, "How many technicals is Rusty up to?" No, I'm just kidding. He did not do that.
Didn't do it one time.
But I don't think you had any.
I think I had. I remember one that I got on purpose.
So
sometimes you try to get one to try to kill momentum or something. Get your team fired up. I might have had one other one, but.
So are you getting old?
That's the first thing. I'm definitely getting old, and I feel it more and more every day. And but I think I did make an effort somewhat to be a little bit more chill on the bench too.
And that's why Stevie's an assistant coach. She notices things like that, and she goes to him early and sort of pushes back a little bit, sort of to try to calm you down. It works occasionally.
Poor old Stevie, bless her heart, she's had to endure me. She helped me all the years at Sunbright and stuff. I'll tell her up front sometimes, "All right, Stevie, keep me calm tonight." So I'll not like something. I'll start fussing on the bench about or whatever. "Dad, it's okay. It's okay." And I said, "No, it's not okay, Stevie." And then she said, "Dad, you told me to keep you quiet." So bless her heart. I love having her with me.
Guys, anything?
Best of luck this year.
Thank you, guys.
As we're getting ready to step up to a new league, depth. My only question is about depth. How many you have to run with AA, and you're at AAA. So is 9 enough?
About 8. I mean, you need a solid 8 or 9. I mean, there's games last year. We just ran out of gas. I mean, we really did. There's no other way to put it. We'd get in that second half and 8 or 9. But depth is always a concern.
Yeah, no, I think 9 for our team, just because, hey, get somebody in foul trouble early, and we have a penchant for getting in foul trouble, 1 or 2 players occasionally. So you've got to have an answer for that, and then if somebody is fatigued, you got to have an answer for that, and to keep that momentum going. It takes that.
What we're wanting to try to do against most opponents, we're going to have to play 8 or 9. I mean, they're just going to have to be ready because there's no ifs, ands. We're going to have to play that many this year, and hopefully it'll be a quality minutes when they're in there.
Rick, when you said that there's a player or two that has a penchant for getting those early fouls, Toby Garrett felt targeted by that, by the way. I'm just going to tell you.
Well, maybe I was thinking about him.
Yeah,
we don't know.
I told Toby the other day, "Now, Toby, I want you being aggressive." And I told Sky the same thing. But I said, "Guys, I need you on the floor."
Yeah.
I said, "The only time I need you there with me is when I'm giving you a little quick break." I said, "I need you guys on the floor this year."
All right, Coach Rusty Aiden, good luck this year. Hopefully you don't have too many more gray hairs by the end of this thing, because I can't say that you're young. Can I say that you're inexperienced? Or is that off limits as well?
That I'm talking about the team.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Guys, you're just not going to hear me say it. When you're all covering the game and stuff, you can say it if you want to, but we're just not going to discuss it when you're talking to me.
All right.
Because I don't want to come across ever using that as an excuse.
All right. Coach Rusty Aiden, your team opens the season at Sell Creek on November the 16th. So good luck there, and as you get into district play later on as well. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to switch back to football and be joined by a couple of Oneida Indians as Oneida comes off that win over the Kings Academy on Friday night. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network, live from the C. Michael Lake Technology Center in Hellenwood, alongside Tim Smith, Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett, and we're joined now by our First National Bank player of the game from Friday night, Landon Lindberg. You've been waiting on that one, and got it with the go-ahead touchdown in the third quarter, I should say. And also our Trophy Masters lineman of the game, Jackson Cross. Got a senior, got a sophomore, Tim, a couple of contributors in that big win over the Kings Academy.
Absolutely. I'm going to start with Jackson. Jackson just told me he's a sophomore. And Jackson, in this season, the Indians have early on struggled to run, but it seems like every week the run game's getting a little bit better. Why do you think that is? What's bringing that together?
I think we're just, learning the system better and gelling together better as an offensive line as a whole. There's still problems to work out. I'm not playing perfect, you know what I'm saying? It's just, but, I think we're just getting closer and gelling together better.
All right. And Landon, I think Friday night you had a tall task, literally. Any receiver that lined up across from you, and that happens a lot of times, right? You're not the tallest guy, but you seem to take on the challenge. But they had some big guys on Kings Academy.
Yes, sir.
What's the key to dealing with that kind of size receiver?
I know it's just it's hard being small, but just against other defenders, you just got to go up and get the ball, Yeah. You just got to go make a play.
Okay. Do you think that they look at you and they think, oh yeah, I'm gonna have some fun tonight?
Yeah. But they'll be underestimate me.
Do you talk back to them?
No.
No, you don't say a word to them?
I just keep quiet. Just the game to the talking.
Okay. I don't know if I believe that or not. Jackson, can you confirm that, or you're too far off?
I'm too far away from
Too far away? No. Okay. All right.
So I'm glad you said it, Tim, because I was thinking it.
Okay. So now Bledsoe County, Friday night. It's going to be some big guys, a good line. Have you watched some tape on them yet?
Yeah, and they're pretty big and fast. They're going to be pretty tough.
Do they remind you of York at all, or is it similar to that?
Well, I don't know. York was big except for the nose. He was just small and fast, you know what I'm saying? But, they just got big. They're just bigger, you know what I'm saying?
What do you think for our line, what's going to be the biggest challenge against Bledsoe County Friday night?
Run blocking, getting the outside guys, you know what I'm saying, and just, that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. Landon, Friday night. Halftime, I know the feeling in the press box at halftime was like, hey, we're cruising. This is going to be good. Things are going good. But Kings Academy came out and they played 10 strong minutes, and then they fumbled a punt.
Yeah.
And you guys were able to take over. Talk about what was the team feeling like when it got to be 15-15.
It was just a crazy experience, just being right there on the 15-yard line or whatever. Right there, right close to the touchdown. It just made it easier for us to score.
On that play, can you tell us what you all were looking for, or what the play call was, or
just go after the ball?
Go after the ball? Yep.
Yeah.
All right. And you didn't say anything to the guy after you caught it?
No.
Okay. Now, the second catch you had 2 catches. And so, you got player of the game, but part of it was for offense because both catches were huge. Touchdown catch, and then I can't remember exactly how far.
39 yards.
39 yards, that second. But it was like it was like you were the taller receiver in that point because you went up high pointed the ball, right?
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's just all about playing the ball in the air. You just got to go up and get it over them. It's just all about timing.
And he was right there. What's it like to have your quarterback have the kind of trust that – because if you don't do that, that could easily be a pick. You got to outplay that guy.
Yeah, it was just a great ball. It was just perfect. It was just right there. So I just went up and got it.
All right. So now you've been predicted as being the player of the week, but you've been kind enough to let some other people have the glory, right?
Yeah.
That's what you've done. So so going into this next week, do you have any indications, any thoughts on who might be getting ready to have a big game this week?
I'm going to say Levi James.
Levi James. Well, Levi's gotten it once, but that's good. That's all right. We can take a repeat winner. And, Jackson, what about the ground game on Friday night? How do you feel like the Indians are going to be able to do rushing the football?
I think, it'll be tough. I think we'll start off maybe a little bit slow because we usually do if you watch the games. But
why do you think that is?
I always get really nervous for every game. We could play a Storm team, and I would be really nervous.
Okay.
But and then just I don't know, for some reason I just feel like as the game goes on, I would just play better anyway. And
Coach Yaden was just here, and he doesn't like the word young, but I mean it does apply to our line. Our line's a pretty young line, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, sir.
But you've made a lot of progress this year. Who do you think on the offensive line? Who's made the most progress through the year? Picked up the game the most, in your estimation?
I don't. That's kind of a tough question, but I guess
it is tough. I agree. Yeah.
I'll just say Brady Burke for
Brady Burke.
Just to throw her name out there, I guess.
Okay. So do you like the pass blocking, the run blocking? Which is your preference?
Pass blocking.
Why is that?
It's just easier for me. I've always been kind of slow, and pass blocking you don't got to be as quick.
Okay.
At least at center, you know what I mean?
Right.
So.
What about learning the language of the plays and your responsibilities on the plays? Has that been hard going from middle school to high school? Is it a lot of change, or
it's not too much change? It's kind of easy once you get the hang of it. There's a few plays that you gotta just keep working at to get better or to get perfect is one. But it hadn't been too terrible to learn all the plays.
All right. So Landon, what do you think offensively this week? You've watched Bledsoe County as well. Do you think you see some places that maybe you can take advantage of?
Oh yeah.
I don't want you to give away the game plan or anything, but what do you think is going to be the key offensively for you guys this Friday night? Because as we pointed out Friday night, if Oneida scores, they win. That's been what's happened this year. You lost twice and you didn't score either time. So if you can score, you can win. How do you score against Bledsoe County?
Just passing, I think, and being able to run the ball.
Okay. What about their corners? How do they look?
Yeah, they look beatable.
Okay. All right. Well, I wouldn't expect you to think any different, right?
Yeah.
So Coach May talks about how a lot of people didn't think you all would be 7-2 at this point after 9 games. Jackson, what did you think? Did you think it was a lock? Did you think it was possible, or are you kind of a little bit surprised?
You want me to be honest with you?
Yeah, be honest with me.
I am a little bit surprised. We're doing this good. I thought we would do better than people thought.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't. Like I said, but that's just my honest opinion. But
okay, I'm going to get deeper with that question though. So what has gone better than you thought it would to make this situation happen?
Everything's gone better.
All phases.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we've gotten better, like the players wise. Like you said, we're real young, which we are, and Ben Gilbert stepped up a lot. You know what I'm saying? At linebacker, everybody's just gotten better. All the sophomores, and even like freshmen like Xander. You know what I'm saying? They just got better.
All right. Now I got a question, Landon. I got a question about your quarterback because we talked about it on Friday night. We talked about how he puts up numbers running, he puts up numbers passing, and when you need big plays, he's there. I just want you to talk about his leadership because you've been right there beside him in these huddles, playing most 3 years. And what is it about Caden that is able to? He just comes out and takes command of the team. I mean, can you put it in words?
He just keeps the team in line. I mean, we wouldn't be where we're at, if it wasn't for him. That's the truth.
Does he ever have to jump onto you, calm you down?
He has to jump on everybody. We all take tunes from him every game.
Are you the worst? Are you the one who jumps on the most?
Yeah.
He says
sometimes.
no.
Sometimes. He's mostly yelling at the line.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's the line? Yeah. He lets you guys know about it?
Yeah,
there's a few rough plays in this game.
Yeah. All right.
It's part of being lineman.
Hey, big game. There's a lot of Oneida teams that haven't been able to have a home playoff game in recent years. I mean, it's been a stretch, and it's something special, and it's something you guys have put yourselves in position to do against this Bledsoe County team. Just talk real quick about your coaches before you go. Jackson, just a word about your coaches and maybe your specific position coach.
I'm just real happy with them. I guess I don't really know how to answer that question, but they've done really well this year, taught us up real good, and we've surprised a lot of people with the record, and I think a huge portion of that's getting trust with Coach May, like me. You know what I'm saying? Just I really trust Coach May now. And I just think that's part of it.
Landon, what about coaches?
They just made me better at my positions, every position I play on every drive. But I just want to give big thanks to them, just because we came a long way where we're at.
Yeah.
I just want to keep going.
I got one last question. If these guys got anything, that's fine. Do you have a favorite YouTube channel? Have you any YouTube channels you watch? Like, have you ever seen that? There's a YouTube channel somebody told me about.
I can't really think of any off my head.
It's do you have any, Jackson?
You know,
Is it Big Daddy Chiefs?
Big Daddy Chiefs fan,
like
yes.
yes, sir.
Oh, Jackson,
That's the channel.
you got a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I do.
What
You
could
know.
we expect to see if we subscribe to Big Daddy Chiefs fan?
Oh, just-
fan. Are you the Chiefs fan?
I am the Chiefs fan.
How did
but,
that happen? Chiefs? Why?
well, really, it's just my dad.
Okay.
He liked Joe Montana, and then he went to the Chiefs.
He did,
a million
yeah.
years ago, and I like the Chiefs now. But
So it's led, but now you've got, if I understand, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the latest episode on Big Daddy Chiefs fan has to do with a house divided. It seems you've got a Chiefs rival fan in your own house. Who is that?
probably just I don't know the dog or something like that.
Is it a Raider fan?
Yeah, he's just and he's always been a bit weird. The dog has, and
Are we losing everybody? I hope not. I don't know, but it's true. You have a YouTube channel, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. How did you get into that?
Well, one night I was just sitting on an Xbox party, and I just made it one day, and
Okay.
just named it something stupid.
You got a bunch of followers?
Yeah, I got like 200. Yeah, it's nothing too much.
It's more than I have. Oh, it's in the area probably. But have you watched?
Yeah, I watched some videos.
Yeah. Do you highly recommend it?
Oh yeah, go like and subscribe right now.
Is it very serious drama, or is this comedy, or what do we got?
No, I mean, I just get hyped watching them. You know what I'm saying? No, they're supposed to be funny, and
Okay.
we actually have one coming out Saturday, a Halloween themed one.
Well, we always want you to promote your work
Yeah.
if you're here. So, Halloween themed. Is it going to be safe for below 14? Is it too scary for the littles?
I don't know. I got some chills watching it, but
You guys got anything?
Not after that.
Hey, listen, Jackson gets bonus points because he comments on our social media stuff more than any other football player. It's usually taking the blame for something. You got to quit doing that. Landon gets points taken away because he wouldn't even respond to my Instagram message asking him if he wanted to be here tonight.
He's too focused.
I didn't see it.
He's too focused.
see
He
it.
doesn't sit on
I
Instagram
didn't
all
see
day.
it.
Am I right, Landon? You got things to do.
I got things to do.
So I do have one question for you, though. Your mom on Saturday, you had a big night on Friday night, and she had this is probably the highlight of her month or maybe even her whole year. She won our karaoke contest at Falling the Mall. You weren't there to support. Yeah, you heard about it.
I
You
heard
weren't there
about
to
it. Yeah, I
support.
wasn't there.
No, listen, Natalie is your mom, Thumper is your dad. Who did you get your athletic ability from?
Definitely not my dad.
Really?
No,
Well,
I'm joking.
Grandpa.
I'm joking.
And so I asked that to lead into this question, and that is, your mom is a fantastic singer. I think when she got up to sing Saturday, everybody was like, well, there's your winner right there. Can you sing?
Not
Did
really.
you didn't
I mean,
hear it there?
No, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it. It's
So
very good. I mean,
if we go to the YouTube channel, that's what we're not going to
no, yeah, you wouldn't see much singing.
Okay. All right.
Do you ever have outside actors? I mean, would you like to
Oh,
do
yeah.
an episode with
Hey,
us?
Coach Josh Terry, he was in that House Divided one.
Was
so,
he?
I mean,
All right. Well, off season comes. We're ready.
All right.
that in mind.
Jackson Cross, our Trophy Masters lineman of the game, and Landon Lindbergh, our first National Bank player of the game. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll switch to Scout High football as the roundtable continues. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network, live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood. I'm Ben Garrett. He's Tim Smith. He's Rick Keaton. And we are joined now by our Trophy Masters lineman of the game, Gus King, and our First National Bank player of the game, Alton Whaley, from Friday night. Both of you guys had a big game. Gus, you guys on the up front, all of you, but you stood out especially, really paving the way and opening some holes for those running backs. And Alton, I got to tell you, I'd never seen you throw the football until Friday night, and I was most impressed. And so I want to, before Rick takes this thing over, I got to ask you, is there a chance that we see a little more of that Thursday night?
Yeah, I think there's a chance of it.
Okay, good deal.
Hey, and just like with the Oneida fellas here just a while ago, we've got a senior and a sophomore. So, I mean, we're bringing the experience and the youth on our program each and every Monday night for the round table. I want to start with Gus. Gus, you've been back as that starting center the last 3 games maybe?
3 or 4, yeah.
3 or 4 like that. And I must say, I've been real impressed even at practice and in the games. You've been spot on getting the ball back to us in the shotgun, which is 99.9% of the time. What did you do to you had some early season problems. What did you do to improve that?
I watched a bunch of YouTube videos. Just how to get your hand right and just snap it good.
Is that something you did yourself, or did
Yeah.
the coaches?
No, I did it myself, yeah.
Well, you've been spot on. I mean, I think last week or week before, all week of practice, they said you'd had one bad snap.
Yep.
And so, I mean, that's hard work to do it yourself. What about our offensive line? How well do you think we played against Pickett County Friday night?
I think we played pretty good. I mean, they're not the hardest team, but, you know, I think we can really motivate that over to next week. Well, this week.
Okay. Go back to Alton. Scored the first 2 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns. Then I think on the third possession you had the touchdown pass to Ryland.
Yes,
so we had 5, 6 touchdowns in the first half. You counted for half of those.
Yeah, we had quite a bit. We got on them pretty heavy.
Well, I had talked to the coaches the evening before on Thursday evening. They said, well, we're going to let Alton be in the backfield and run a few times, but we're not going to wear him out because they had a plan that you would throw the ball some.
Oh, I don't get tired.
You don't get tired?
No.
Oh, well, I've seen a couple of games that I thought you were a little tired, and maybe that Eagleton game where you just carried the ball so much. I thought you looked a little tired there with that.
No. I just got tricked to defense.
His eyes deceived him, didn't
he? Yeah.
So you're playing both sides of the ball, offense and defense, as a linebacker and now as a quarterback, running back thing. It's not fair to ask, which one you prefer, because I think you've been a defensive leader for us all year.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make you feel better that you're getting more on-field offensive snaps now?
I mean, it don't really bother me. Like, if it's going to help lead the team to a win, I'm more than happy to do it. But just whatever's going to help the team win, I'm cool with it.
I want to talk about the rest of your seniors. Tell us who you think has done well last week. Tell us who you think can have a major impact this week, other than yourself. But tell us someone who can have an impact this week.
I believe Rylan and Jaden really can have a pretty big impact, and I mean Landon and Gage. I mean, I think we're all going to play a pretty big role in the win if we win Friday. I mean, it's going to be everybody coming together. Rylan gets open a couple times. That's going to open Jaden up.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be all of us.
Did y'all watch any film today? Watch anything about Austin East?
No, sir. We don't watch film no more because we get in our own heads.
I see. How does that help an offensive lineman prepare, not watching the scheme that the other team's playing, Gus?
Well, we usually practice their defensive front in practice so we can get ready for it. But I mean, we're ready. I mean,
Jace Cloyd went out a couple of weeks ago. He had surgery, couldn't play. And it's not the ACL or anything. When I say that, it was actually a calcium deposit. Let's talk about the other offensive linemen and how you're playing together as a team right now. Let's start at the left tackle. That'd be Eli. Is that right?
Eli Kidd, yes.
Okay. Let's just work our way across the line, down the line, and just talk about each one of those.
Eli, he's good with his hands. He's good blocking. He's really coachable. So, I mean, it's all really say about him.
Then you've got the stable guy. You've got Hayden next to you,
yes, sir.
Between the tackle and your center position. Tell us a little bit about Hayden.
Hayden's a big boy. Hayden's a real big boy. He's hard to get past. I mean, it's that big body of his,
Mm-hmm. Then we've had to make some adjustments to your right, working some people in. Who's going to be at the right guard, right tackle this week?
I think Caleb Bell and Dakota Strunk.
So that'll give them maybe 3 games that they've been able to play side by side there.
Yes,
so are they coming along well?
Yeah, I think they're really picking it up.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't want to ask about your game plan, but can we expect anything? Gus, is it going to be more run, more pass?
I think we're going to be running the ball a little bit more, working on our double teams a lot, and just picking up backers and making a hole for our running backs.
Okay. We talked about your achievements last week offensively. What does the defense have to do this week? You're a big part of that defensive team, and I think a whole lot about you and Tommy Fitzgerald defensively, maybe Gage Myers. You guys seem to cover a lot of territory sideline to sideline.
Yeah, that's going to be a really big thing this week. We've got to get sideline to sideline. Can't get tired. They've got really, really fast guys. Their running back, he's pretty good, but their quarterback really likes to stretch it out as far as possible. If he can go sideline to sideline, he's going to go sideline to sideline, make a big play like that. But if our DNs can hold control and everybody flow and make a big tackle on them, I believe it'll slow them down and give us a good chance.
I don't have to really ask the question, but I think everyone knows you got to stop the quarterback Cherry for Austin East. If you can hold him under maybe 50 total yards, it gives the team a great chance to win.
Yes, sir. We also got to hold their running back though. That running back, like I said, he's pretty good. It's going to take more than one person to bring him down if we bring him down.
Mm-hmm. Defensive front, linebackers. How about the secondary this week? Corners, and are you going to play a 1 deep or 2 deep?
I think we're kind of switching around, kind of moving some new guys in, and I think we're going to stick back to the 1-man deep like we've been playing all year, but I think there's some situations we'll drop to a 2.
But just going 1, that puts, I guess, your nickel more in play behind the line of scrimmage then.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
What do you know about Austin East? Are they my perception is a spread team, or are they an empty backfield team, or just split receivers, one on each side?
They're more of they'll run like doubles and stuff like that. They're more of they're more passing team, I believe. They'll run quads to one side if they have to. Sometimes, I mean, they mix it up pretty good.
Mm-hmm. What do you look for from Austin East defensively? What can be the area that the Highlanders can be most successful this week?
I mean, I believe we can be successful on the ground and in the air, but I believe we can have a pretty good game in the air if we can get some blocks and good runs.
Is everybody healthy, you think, going into this? Landon might still be limited a little bit with his hand, but you think everybody else is going to be healthy Thursday?
Yeah, I hope everybody else is healthy and ready to go Thursday. And I don't believe Landon's going to let the cast limit him.
Okay. Gus, short turnaround, Thursday night game. I guess everybody's used to playing Thursday night in middle school, but you don't do that much in high school. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on a Thursday night game in Knoxville, East Knoxville to be precise?
It's pretty cool. It's something I ain't never done before, I mean, I'm excited for it.
But you have to go back to school the next day.
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part.
I'm going to guess that you guys win on Thursday night and you're not at school on Friday. Your teachers probably aren't going to really care, right? It's going to be an excused absence.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Alton's going to maybe be there win or lose, but
I'll definitely be there.
Okay.
All day long.
Good man. You're a good man down there. Was it a lot of fun?
Yeah.
Last Friday night, a lot of fun to go play well. What does that help you prepare for this week, Gus? More confidence? Does the whole team exude that confidence level this week?
Yeah, I think that we know what we're capable of doing,
And the importance. I know it's hard to keep you guys from reading and figuring out stuff like that, but to understand the importance of what a win could be for the team.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good to win. Mm-hmm. Even though we got 2, it still feels really good, Mm-hmm. So,
what would you like to? What's the number one thing you'd like to see happen for Thursday night, Alton?
I would like to see all of us come together, all 11 on the field at the same time, like we did Friday. I mean, we all came together against Pickett County. We wasn't in our own heads. We was all ready to play ball. We come together. I mean, we scored pretty good. I mean, we've not really done that all year. I mean, Eagleton, we came out. We played all 11 together. We won the game. we've not done that. I believe it would be really good to see our team do that again. It felt really good to see that last Friday.
Let's shout out somebody. Who would you like to see as the player of the game next week? This week. Who would that player be? If not Alton Whaley, who would the player be?
I would have to say 3 people, either Rylan Griffin, Gage Myers, or Hugo Henry.
Okay. How about lineman? Who do you project as our lineman of the week this week?
I'm going to say Hayden Mason.
Hayden Mason?
I'm going to say Hayden Mason, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Questions, guys?
I got just one. Defensively, you may not want to tell me. I mean, if you don't want to, I understand that. But the quarterback, Cherry, are you all running a spy on him? Is somebody responsible for him the whole time, or just going to play straight up?
We're just going to play straight up. We're going to make him beat us.
Just curiosity I had.
Well, that's a good question.
So, Alton, I got to ask you, as a senior, and I know that this is your last regular season game for sure, and you know that. And like any senior, you're not ready to hang it up yet. It's been a while for Scott High getting to the playoffs. That's something that your class has never experienced. So that adds a little bit on Thursday night. That you've got that to play for.
Yeah.
How special would it be to get that win and get into the playoffs Thursday night?
Man, it'd be awesome. I don't believe there'd be an experience like that. I mean, there's only 3 seniors on the team that's played all 4 years. Everybody's, dove in and bought into the sport and everything. But, me, Hugo, Rylan, we've never done that. We bust our hand. It'd be awesome to see us go to playoffs, see them 2 rewarded like that.
And I got to tell you, we talked in the opening, Rick. Rick mentioned it specifically. Austin East, they've put up a lot of points at times this year, and then at times they've not put up as many points. They've kind of been up and down. One thing, Rick, with that having it in front of me, I think you would find if you looked at the schedule, probably everybody that's played Austin East has scored at or above their season average points-wise. What I'm saying is you got the opportunity to move the ball and score some points in Austin East. As an offensive player, how excited are you for that opportunity?
Man, I'm excited. Whoever we play, I'm excited to just go out there and play ball. I don't care who I'm playing against.
I can actually put it in front of you.
I'm excited to play ball. I believe we all are.
Yeah.
All right, so Gus, I got to ask you, to be a lineman, you're a small guy. Did you play lineman in middle school at Huntsville?
Yeah, I played guard.
Okay, so you've always been on the line.
Yeah.
What is it like? Okay, so middle school is
and he's a defensive end too. We just talked about him being a lineman, and I apologize for that. He also is a defensive lineman too.
Well, I want to talk about you as a center. It's a little bit different, middle school and high school. Now, middle school, you face some big guys sometimes, but when you're playing 3A football at the high school level, you're facing big guys every single week. And what's it like when you get up against a team like Alcoa? Alcoa, especially because I know you're playing a lot of teams. They're putting big old tubby guys. Can I say tubby? I'm tubby.
Sure,
so I can say tubby.
You can say it.
They put tubby guys across from you. Alcoa's putting big old muscular guys across from you. Is it scary?
Not really, no.
I mean,
it's hard. It's hard
for you anyway. It would scare me.
Yeah, it's hard, but it don't scare me because I know if I'm just faster and I can get under him, then I can get him.
Okay. Well, you've done a good job. And by the way, we probably should mention Gus started as a freshman too. Am I right? At least you played a lot as a freshman.
Yeah.
If not started, so something not a lot of people do, especially as linemen at the 3A level. So, Gus King, our Trophy Masters lineman of the game, and Alton Whaley, our first National Bank player of the game. Good luck, guys, on Thursday night against Austin East. It would be good to be playing next week, so good luck. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to look at this week's games and try to pick who the winners are going to be on Thursday and Friday night. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. Our final segment tonight as we come to you live from the C. Michael Lake Technology Center in Helenwood. We're joined now by a couple of freshman cheerleaders. We've got Shaylee Gray from Oneida, and we've got Lauren Reynolds. Almost called you Abby right off the bat. Lauren Reynolds from Scott High School. Now, correct me if I know you're a freshman, and Shaylee, you're a freshman as well. Am I right about that? Okay, so we started this season with seniors. You guys, by the way, are the last cheerleaders that are going to make an appearance on this show during football season. Should feel special or something, I guess. So we worked our way down to the freshmen. So I got to ask you, I'm going to start with Lauren, because Lauren's my cousin, by the way, if y'all didn't know that.
We don't hold that.
Claim it, but,
we don't hold that against Lauren.
I'll claim you.
So.
It's okay.
Hey, I appreciate that. Not many people do. So you're following in your big sister's footsteps. I said I almost called you Abby. Abby was a cheerleader at Scott High for 4 years, and now here you are. Is that something that have you kind of looked up to her, trying to literally follow in her footsteps, or it just come natural in the family?
I don't know. I kind of looked up to her, honestly. She's always been like the super cheer star and like the super soccer player, and I played soccer in middle school and cheer in middle school, so I feel like I've always looked up to her and just tried to be exactly like her because she's wonderful.
So where were you at this year? 16 players on the Scout High soccer team, and you were not one of them.
No,
and you did play in middle school.
No, I kind of wanted a break, I guess.
Okay.
I might play, maybe.
There you go. So you got 3 years left. Shaylee, how about you? I know that you cheered in middle school as well. Did you cheer all 3 years at Oneida Middle?
No, I only cheered my 8th grade year.
Okay. So what made you as an 8th grader decide it's time for me to get into cheerleading?
I did when I was little, and I just decided I wanted to go back and try something new.
Okay. All right. So both of you guys you guys do the pageant circuit. The pageant circuit. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. You're in the pageants locally anyway. I don't know if you do them outside Scott County. Lauren, as a matter of fact, is the reigning Miss Teen Scott County Fairest to the Fair. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And Shaylee, you're also a past winner at the Fairest to the Fair pageant. So which is more nerve-wracking? I would think pageant because all eyes are on you when you come out on that stage. Would you agree with that, or is cheerleading more nerve-wracking? Either way, you're in front of a big crowd.
Yeah, probably pageants.
I definitely think pageants.
Yeah. So as freshmen, you guys have stepped up from the middle school level to the high school level this year. There are a lot bigger crowds at high school games than there are at middle school games. Is that part of it nerve-wracking at all, or is it just come with the territory and you take it in stride?
I feel like it's the same
No?
because you still do the same stuff.
I feel like I wasn't really as nervous with middle school because there's like a smaller crowd. But with high school, I feel like the atmosphere is just so much fun. Like it's hard to be nervous because you're just having so much fun.
Football season's almost over, and then you guys would jump right into basketball. You both did basketball at the middle school level, so you know what you're getting into. You said football is fun. Do you think basketball is going to be more fun, or is football kind of the highlight? How about it?
I think they're both really fun. I love cheering for basketball and football both. But basketball is really busy, and my schedule gets really packed, but I love it.
Shaylee, do you have a preference?
I like both of them, but football is my favorite just because I feel like it gets very busy in basketball season.
Okay. We talked about Lauren being a middle school soccer player, maybe a high school soccer player next year. Got to think about that. You didn't play soccer. However, you are a deer hunter. All right. So, and I say that because Shaylee has killed bigger. I've hunted for 34 years, and Shaylee's killed bigger bucks in her short amount of time hunting with her dad than I have ever killed. So, as a hunter, you get that rush when that big buck steps out in front of you. What's that like? What's the adrenaline like when you're in the woods and that big buck steps out compared to a high school football Friday night under the lights?
Well, it's kind of like when you're hunting, it hits you all at once, and like your nerves eventually go away during a football game.
Yeah. All right, guys.
I do have a question. So, and this is not about cheerleading. This is about the pageants. You talked about the pageants being more challenging, tougher. I want you to think, have you both been in pageants where they ask you a question, right? Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to put the shoe on the other foot. So you're going to ask Rick a tough pageant question here in a minute, but I have to go first. So, Shaylee, a pageant question, you ask me and I have to answer it. You just fire one off. Just make one up out of your head and see how I do.
Okay, if you had 100 of anything, what would it be?
If I had 100, I can repeat the question, right? Do you do that when you're doing the pageant?
No, you've already lost.
Okay. Okay. If I could have 100 of anything, it would be opportunities to make this world a better place.
Oh, come on.
Well, that's a pageant answer.
How did I do?
Good.
Thank you. Thank you, Shaylee.
That's,
your turn, Rick.
That's a pageant answer.
That's right.
You sure did.
It's your turn.
If you want to, why would you want to be Miss Scott County? Why are you running to be Miss Scott County?
Why would you be Miss Scott County, Rick?
I've never given that much thought. But I can tell you this would be to go forth and try to do the best I could to serve the people in my community.
Good answer.
I think Rick, he did better than I did.
You guys have, he did do better than you did.
Wait a minute. Ben should have to answer one.
Moving on. So this week, did you know, Shaylee, because Lauren drug you into this, did she really tell you that you were getting into?
I kind of heard about it.
Okay. So, and you came anyway?
So it can't be all. It's not all bad, right?
It surprises me every week that you guys show up because we do want you to talk about cheerleading and give yourselves an opportunity to talk about your team, your cheer team, and stuff like that. But then we make you pick the winners of this Friday night's game. And most cheerleaders, let's face it, they don't pay attention to what is happening with the other schools. They pay attention to their own school. So do you guys keep up with what's happening with the Bledsoe County and the York or the Alcoas and Kingstons and teams like that? No?
A little.
Really? Okay, so you should be ready to help Rick pick all the games right this week.
I don't know.
Thank you. I need a lot of help.
I'll try.
Yeah, so, and Shaylee?
There's no pressure, Shaylee, because even with your help, if you went 10-0, I'm not winning, so no pressure.
Yeah, Shaylee, Rick is kind of – I'm sorry, I called Tim Rick. Tim prided himself early this season on how the cheerleaders from Oneida were coming in and helping him, and he was top the standings on our Pigskin Pick'em panel, and he has been in free fall. So there is a little pressure there because he needs to right the ship and go out. He can't win, but he can go out on a good note, and you can help him do that. So we won't make you guys pick the Oneida and Scott High games. You guys will pick them to win. You would pick Scott High to beat Austin East. You would pick Oneida to beat Bledsoe County. But I'm going to ask you, Shaylee, starting with you, Oneida against Bledsoe County on Friday night. Bledsoe County is a good football team. Oneida's a good football team. This is important for you guys because if you win, you get to be at home the next week. And I'm sure even as a cheerleader, you would like to play that game at home as opposed to having to travel. What does Oneida have to do Friday night to beat Bledsoe County?
I think they just need to play their best and play as one.
Okay. And before we get into the games that are being played in Oneida's region, I'm going to ask you, it's a big game for Scott High School. You said basketball is fun, but I know you're not ready to go into basketball yet. You'd like at least one more football game after Friday night, the Thursday night, I should say. So what's Scott High have to do to beat Austin East?
I feel like they really just have to play their best, play hard, offense and defense both, and just really try their best.
And so, Rick, we talked a lot at the first of the show about the games that are coming up this week, and we talked about it when Alton and when Gus were here as well. What does Scott High have to do for Thursday night to beat Austin East?
First thing, they need to believe. They need to believe that they can go to Austin East, despite anything that you may hear about that community in Knoxville. They're generally nice to us when we show up over there, but they have to believe that they can go over there and win, and they have to make it the best effort all season. Don't go take any lackadaisical attitude. Go over there and from the first play, show Austin East that we're not a pushover, that we're there to take the victory home.
And, Tim, you've already said you think Bledsoe County is the second best team on the schedule behind York, which I think is a bold statement because Coalfield is awfully good. But Bledsoe is too.
Yeah.
Bledsoe's a very good
But he was
team.
talking about probably regional opponents when he said that.
Well, I really do feel like they're really good. And I don't mean that Coalfield is great. Mm-hmm. I think Bledsoe County is just sneaky, scary good.
Beat Gordonsville last week.
And you got to go to their place. I think we got to turn them over more than once. We got to protect. We can't turn it over at all. And we've got to make our breaks, like General Nayland says. You make your breaks, and it's a huge, great opportunity for the Indians, and something they're very capable of.
The way Oneida plays defense, I don't think they're out of any game they play. Matter of fact, I think, and we saw it against York, but I think if they went back and played that Coalfield game over, Coalfield scored, 33 on them maybe?
They did.
I don't think they would score 33 this time. So, but anyway, that's just speculation. All right, Shaylee, another big game, Friday night, Polk County. They are going to be the 4 seed in your all's region. And they're playing at York, which is the region champion. York is 8-1. Who would you pick as the winner of that football game, Polk County or York? You would pick York. Don't even have to think about it. Tim, would you agree with Shaylee?
She's absolutely correct.
We'll swing over here. How about you, Lauren? York?
I think York.
Okay, Rick?
York.
It's unanimous. York will kind of.
I think it'll be closer than people
think so. Well, Polk County coming in, everybody thought would be a good football team. They're 4-5, not what they wanted.
They played Meigs County close, and they won last week, and they will keep it close.
They have played some teams tough, and a big win over Sweetwater with the 2-point conversion. All right, Shaylee, the only other game that's being played in the region, Tellico Plains. They started off the season so strong against Eagleton, beat the snot out of Eagleton, frankly, and since then they haven't won. They've lost 8 in a row. They're going to be going to Wartburg, which has played a lot of teams tough, but just doesn't have the depth to get over the top. So here are 2 teams that they know this is it. This is their final game of the season. They just want to go out on a high note. Tellico Plains at Wartburg. Who are you going to pick as the winner?
Probably Tellico.
Okay. Tellico Plains, do you agree?
She knows the quarterback's back, and they've gotten much better since then. Absolutely. I'm with Shaylee on this one, Tellico Plains.
All right. And Tellico Plains, by the way, put up 38 on McMinn Central. McMinn Central's a fantastic football team. So, yes, the quarterback being back does make a difference. What about you, Lauren? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Tellico.
Rick, what say you?
I have no idea. I don't even know how. Is that on the picking panel?
It absolutely is.
I don't even know how.
You don't know how you picked.
I don't even know how I picked on that.
So Rick's given up already.
I've given up entirely. Yeah. I would. I just want to be the upset dog, and I'll select Wartburg. Okay.
Well,
there you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to leave you as the lone man out there on that limb because Tim convinced me last week that because I was talking about how Tellico's season has just come off the rails, and he convinced me that with their quarterback being back, they were going to be better. They had the misfortune of playing McMinn Central his first game back, which is a powerful football team, but they put up 38. So, yeah, I think they take them. I think they get Wartburg and they take them and finish off the season on a high note. We'll switch over here to this side, and with Scott High's region this week, Scott plays Austin East, of course. We've also got Kingston at Alcoa. Now, Scott High and Austin East is big because there's a playoff spot on the line. Kingston at Alcoa is big because there is a region championship and a 1 seed on the line. They both know they're going to be hosting playoff games. It's just a matter of who's going to be the 1 and who's going to be the 2. You've seen both teams, Lauren, so what do you think? Can Kingston beat Alcoa?
I think Alcoa can beat Kingston, honestly.
Okay. What do you think, Rick? Would you agree with Lauren?
Well, last week's the only time that Alcoa's let me down all year long, so
Yeah,
I'm back on the Alcoa train again.
All right. What about this side of the table? Who are you picking, Shaylee? Alcoa or Kingston?
Probably Alcoa.
Would you agree with that?
I would. There's a little bit of last week to make up for Alcoa.
I believe
the Yellow Jackets.
Exactly.
Yeah, they turned the ball over several times, and I would guess that Coach Nix probably is going to have his team ready to go on Friday night. I would say Alcoa big in that one. And then a couple of 3 and 6 teams going at it. This is unfair because there is nobody at this table that is familiar with Cherokee, and if I'm not familiar with them, I know you guys are not going to be familiar with them. But Cherokee's going to be at Union County. Just take a stab. Who are you taking in that one? You have seen Union County.
Yeah, Union County was really good. We went into overtime with them, so I really don't know. I'm going to pick Union County just because that's
pick what
all
you're
I
familiar
saw.
with. What do you think, Rick?
Well, I'm torn on that game too. Tonight, I think I'll pick Union County. You ask me tomorrow, I may change that to Cherokee. So,
what do you think, Shaylee?
Union County.
Union County. Tim, you going to make it 4 for 4?
I am not. I'm going to go with Cherokee. I feel like schedule-wise, they've.
Yeah, and that's why I said I'm sort of torn. I mean, it could be. I think it could go either way.
Yeah, I would have to.
But
agree
it's at Union County, which makes it like Rick says. It's kind of hard to.
Yeah, when in doubt, pick the home team, and maybe they'll persevere.
Yeah, so I think that I got to agree with Tim. It's going to be Cherokee on Friday night. All right, last one. Switch from high school to college. Tennessee, man, they let us all down in the second half. First of all, Shaylee, how upset was your dad? Did he throw things at the TV during the second half of that game on Saturday?
He was actually at my sister's basketball tournament, so I wasn't with him, but he was pretty upset.
Yeah, I imagine, because I was upset, and, yeah, I would say he was. All right, so, I should ask you, does Brandon Reynolds watch Tennessee football?
He does. He was actually upset.
Really? I thought he would be way more laid back than Tim Gray. He's not.
He probably is.
Okay. But he got it. Well, we were all upset. So Tennessee let us down. All right, here's the thing. Tennessee, they're not playing very well on the road, and this week they got to go on the road again to play a Kentucky team that's lost 2 in a row, but pretty good Kentucky team. Ran all over Florida, which beat Tennessee back earlier in the season. So I'll start with Lauren. Tennessee versus Kentucky on Saturday. I will tell you this. Out of our entire Pigskin Pick'em panel, we had one person pick Kentucky. No, we had 2 people pick Kentucky. We probably had 3. Did Leetta pick Kentucky? She didn't know. We had 2 people. We had Nate Brennan pick Kentucky because he's a Notre Dame fan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we had somebody else pick Kentucky. And I'm not going to tell them, Bo Kid, that you were the traitor that picked Kentucky. So everybody went Tennessee. Do you agree? Can Tennessee beat Kentucky?
I really think they can, honestly. I mean, the Florida game when we played, it just wasn't the best game that everybody had. And then we really showed ourselves at the Alabama game. I mean, even though we didn't come back in the second quarter, we still did really good. We played really good.
First half. Yeah. Rick, what do you think? You agree with Lauren? Tennessee on Saturday?
I do. Tennessee has to win a home game sometime. I mean, a road game sometime. I I hope it's Kentucky, and I think they do. They will fix another issue or two and be prepared to take on the Big Blue up there and win that on a road game. Get to come back home after that, I think. So.
Shaylee, if Tennessee loses to Kentucky on Saturday and goes to 2-3 in the SEC, I kind of worry about your dad's mental stability going into deer season. So what do you think? Can Tennessee pull it off?
Yeah, I think Tennessee can.
All right. Tim, what do you think?
Well, on Bo Kidd, he has a lot of family that rolls
No, don't
Tide.
try to bail him out.
He does. He has a lot of family that rolls Tide, and they were probably really upset with all the penalty flag that was thrown
sure they were.
on Alabama, so he's just angry picking. But it's going to be Tennessee.
Unless he knows the same officiating crew would be at Lexington.
Yeah, unless he's got some maybe he's got that inside info.
So for the record, we are unanimous that Tennessee's beating Kentucky. Yeah. Well, you know what? I have said all year that Tennessee's got to beat somebody of quality on the road for me to be a believer. I'm going to side with you guys. You talked me into it. I think Tennessee wins by at least a touchdown up in Lexington at Kroger Field on Saturday night. All right, so Shaylee Gray, Lauren Reynolds, thank you guys both for joining us. You both did very well. We will be with you not just one, not just two, but 3 days of football this weekend. We start with Scott High, Austin East on Thursday night. Our Baby J's Pizza pregame report will begin at 6:30. Then on Friday night, we go down to Decatur, Tennessee. Pikeville, Tennessee. I'm sorry, I've been saying Decatur all week. Baby J's Pizza pregame report will begin at 7. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff. And then on Saturday, we will be at Campbell County High School, where both Huntsville and Oneida will be in action in the middle school Area 2 championship games on Saturday. That's it for us tonight. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.